Hey, Susie and Doug, this is Max. I wanted to give you a quick market analysis on your property in Raleigh Downs. So, the first thing that I do is I go to public records and I pull up all of the information that provides so that I can do my comparison. So, at any time during this video, you can hit pause and take a deeper look at what I'm going over if I don't go over everything or I go over too quickly. So this is what Public Records has: 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, uh, a big lot of over 10,000 square feet, built in 1986. Here's the above ground square footage, the basement, the total, walkout basement, 2 stories. And with their algorithm in public records, it's estimating 483. I think that's low. But that's just a computer program. It's not looking at your house. It doesn't realize how special Raleigh Downs is compared to the newer developments. It's just crunching numbers. So they came up with 483. And then it shows that you bought it for 230 in 1997. So anyway, that's public records. So what I do is from there I do a quick search in MLS, and I pull up. And I went a little bit further than maybe an appraiser would go. They go a 1 mile diameter, and I did a 1 mile radius. So 2 miles across a circle to pull up comps. And I'm looking at only 2 stories. I'm not comparing ranches and bi-levels and split levels. I'm looking at 2 stories to compare to yours. So realizing that there's a lot of different neighborhoods in there, but I did a similar size house. I did a bracket that was comparable in size to yours, and then numbers of beds and baths. So what I came up with, I came up with this search in the last 6 months. This is what's happened within a 1 mile radius of your house in Raleigh Downs. And let's see, if I go to the map, it'll show that. So on the map, it shows that here's the red dot, that's your house. And there's only one house in Raleigh Downs that has sold recently. And then some of these in Old Hidden River, Hidden River 1, the older section, are comparable in age to yours. And then when we get into some of these peripheral areas, these are newer homes. So Raleigh Downs is definitely a unique area in Parker. So when I do the search, then I take the information and the data from the MLS and I import it into my own spreadsheet so I can manipulate it, find averages, crunch the numbers per se, so that I can have a better comparison to yours. So when I import it into my own spreadsheet, I come up with these. And so these are all sold. And so it's a pretty good group of sold within that mile radius. On average, this group has 4 bedrooms. Yours has 3. Yours is a 1986 house, so it's 30 years old and a little bit more than 30 years old. And it doesn't have a finished basement. So it's kind of not typical in a house of that age. A lot of them have gone through a lot of different owners, and somebody at some point has finished the basement. But that's not a real detriment on yours. I'm just making a point. That's probably where a lot of these have their finish, or their 4th bedroom would be a basement bedroom. So yours, on average, there are 3 baths, and yours has 3 baths. Above grade square footage. This is not including the basement. Yours is slightly bigger than the average. The finish square footage Yours is going to fall slightly low because it doesn't have the finished basement, and a lot of these do. And then the total square footage, yours is a larger home all over. So if you look at the finished square footage to the total, you can kind of see when these get close to each other. Well, when the above grade is the same as the finish, that means the basement doesn't have a finish. So the above grade is the same as the finish. Above grade is same as finish. So most of these looks like have do not have finished basements. This one does. This one does not. This one does because the above grade square footage is different than the finished square footage. So that's a good way to tell if they have a finished basement. It looks like maybe half of them do, maybe a little less than half of them do. Let's continue on. The basement square footage, on average, these have about 1,000 square foot in the basement. Yours is over 1,500 square foot, so a bigger basement. Yours is a bigger house than the average one in this group overall. And the average price here, again, this is low. I'm not saying that this is where we should be. The 467. The price per square foot above grade. So if you take that 190 and multiply it by yours, that'll give you a number. It might not be exactly where we should be. It's actually not usually the best method to find the price, but it's a method. The price per square foot finished, and then the lot size. Yours, on average, they have a 9,000 square foot, and yours is 10,629. I do not think that that is inclusive of your property line adjustment, so yours might be even bigger than that. And then the days on the market, on average, 45 days on the market. So that's 45 days until they entered into a contract. And so it's another 30 days typically after that, which puts it about 75 days from punching a sign in the yard to moving out. 75 days. So this is just crunching numbers. I'm not looking at finishes, features, remodels, anything like that. But what I want to do is I want to go in and take a look at some of these houses. So let's take a look at these two that sold in the close to 500,000, the two most expensive ones. So it's the two that are on Snowshoe are the properties that sold for the most. So let's take a peek at both of those. So this first one has a good-looking front, a lot of brick like yours, two-car garage. The stats on both of these on Snowshoe are on that other chart. I'm not going to go over those. I just want to look at finishes. So kind of the grand entry like yours, very similar to yours. It has granite and a cherry cabinet in the kitchen. A lot of can lights, no popcorn. Open to the family room, similar to yours. I think the Raleigh Downs has a bump in price. Raleigh Downs is unique enough. Older, has bigger lots. It's not crammed in like so many of them. So some built-ins in an office. This is the master suite, so there's the top of the banister going down. Has the double doors, and then this is more of the master. And the master bath has been remodeled, a modern tub and a tile floor, kind of the dark wood and new light fixtures. So a nice remodel in the master bath. Some pretty bold colors in the secondary bedroom, coffee looking color in this one. Bright blue Bronco colors in that one. Who's on the wall? Is that James Dean? I don't know who that guy is. It looks like he's trying to catch a football. An upgraded bathroom in the secondary bath, and this is most likely in the basement. kind of a media area, basement. I believe this is basement. And then here's the backyard. So it has a nice backyard, definitely backing up, lining up in alignment with the neighbors. So, the camera lens is a little bit deceptive here. It's a wide angle lens, and this guy's backing up right to him, and he's actually looking down on him a little bit. So you might have a little less privacy than it appears. Looks like a football field back there, but that's a camera lens kind of a thing. Let's look at the next one on Snowshoe. This one, another good-looking house, 3-car garage, nice amount of brick on the front, not just the pillars around the garage, which a lot of them have. Pretty standard looking. You walk in the front door. Looks like, I would guess, the front door is over here, and if you come to a small formal living room, and then the office over here. And actually, that's a dining room, but they're using it as an office. And I think this right here passes through to the kitchen. So walking in, you can turn to the formal, it's typically a formal dining room and then a formal living room on the other side. If you keep going in, then you'll get to the kitchen and the family room. This is, again, that pass through to the kitchen. They have it set up as an office with a refrigerator. And then the powder room. I don't know where this one is. So this is where you're walking through that hallway from the formal living or dining room into the kitchen, and then here's the family room off of the kitchen. So a little bit more bisected. And then this is the family room off of the kitchen. So you have that catwalk and kind of the grand staircase. Typically, the master bedroom's on one side of this catwalk, and then the secondary bedrooms are on the other side. So a little bit dated, the green and the black appliances. I think it has Formica. It looks like a sharp edge here and a bullnose there. So I think that's Formica. We might get a better look at it. Yeah. And the oak cabinets. So a little bit dated, but nice and big and grand. Look at how large the master suite is, but the curtains are dating it for sure up there. So this is very similar to that other one, looking out into the stairs. So you come up the stairs and there's the master suite, and I think you walk across the catwalk, and then the secondary bedrooms would be over there. So again, dated with the wallpaper trim accent piece, and then just pretty standard Formica countertops. That is like kind of an 80s thing with carpet going up the side of the tub. Black ceiling, interesting. Wow, look at those curtains, pretty dated. And then this IKEA, Home Depot storage thing. There's not a lot of updating here. There's some bold paint, but paint is cheap. And then these dark ceilings are definitely a little bit different. So here's the backyard, very flat and usable. And then it looks like it's backing to an open space, the trail system. So let's take a look at where it's backing to on the map. So yeah, it's in Hidden River, and it's backing just to the trail system that goes through Hidden River. There's not a lot of space. It actually lines up with a neighbor, so you're looking at some of the neighbors. It's on a cul-de-sac, so it has a little bit larger of a lot. So that's pretty much it with those areas. What I'd like to also do, this one is putting the price. I would think that I would be comfortable at 5.25 based on this information. But another thing I want to compare it to is I always compare Raleigh Downs to the Pinery. Uh, Similar in age, the Raleigh Downs and the Pinery. At one point, there was nothing really much in between Raleigh Downs and the Pinery as far as the higher density homes. There's Butterfield and some of the larger lots like where you lived prior to Raleigh Downs, but Raleigh Downs and the Pinery are very comparable, I believe. So let's take a peek at that next. But I'm going to log out of this one, and I would say with confidence, you could be at 5.25. But I think that there might be some room on top of that. So that's the end of this video. I'm going to do another video tomorrow on Monday, comparing your house to what's going on in the Pinery.